Alright, so this is the first video in what I hope to be a series on making progress in the Odin project. And so right now I'm at project Tic-Tac-Toe. This is part of the JavaScript course. And I don't think I'll film, as I'm going through each of the lessons, but filming the project seems to make the most sense as I can document my thinking process, and these are also just a lot of fun. Really frustrating, but overall fun to do. So yeah, so anyway, where I'm at already, I made some progress yesterday. Tic-Tac-Toe, so I mean, it's as simple as it sounds. In theory, just need to make the 3x3 grid and then have a system to add the X's and O's and declare winners and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to check it out, you can go to the Odin project, read through this. But it sounds simple. I'm finding that it's definitely not simple, which is usually how these things go. And so where my code is right now, so I initially started out with, well, to back up, this project comes at the end of, or comes after, where am I? Yeah, so it comes after factory functions and module pattern. I just finished up project library recently. So this is all about objects, object constructors, and now using factory functions and module patterns basically instead of object constructors. I think that's one of the main benefits of factory functions over object constructors, or one of the main purposes is to replace the need for these. And I guess overall helps to consolidate code, as the section implies. So what, I guess it'd be important to show the lesson. So what's interesting is there was only one lesson between the last project and this current project. And this lesson just focused on different options for making and organizing functions, creating objects. So the way I began writing the code, which is commented out right now, is see, it said in the project to store the game board in an array inside of a game board object, so start there. So anyway, it's probably a better way to do this, but I just went ahead and set out blank, or an array of empty text. So what my plan is that each of these positions in the array will correspond to one of the game tiles. So 1, 2, 3 across the top, 4, 5, 6 across the middle, 7, 8, 9 across the bottom. And the HTML just have 9 divs, and they all have different IDs, so I know exactly where they are. And then in the styling, I used grid display with 3x3 set out there. So actually I can double check that right now to make sure that these are actually the correct, or what I think they are. So square 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, I did not like something about this, so not sure what loaded incorrectly. Oh, that's probably it. There we go. All right. So what do I do now? Well, so this is where I left off yesterday. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was use a function, and this seemed to be working, where I could basically I could set the update game function. I could set a constant equal to that and then pass variables into here, which basically go through this function and then into this function. And so the symbol x and the square 3. So this seemed to work when I would console log it. And what I mean is that I can just comment this out and demonstrate it. So this array should have x replaced here. And it does. So I uncomment that. This, I think, was working as well. It seems to be. Everything's saved, so I should have updated. Yeah. Okay, so that's working. So in this case, because the reason I switched is from this as a starting point to this is that the instructions said to tuck as much code inside of factories. So, and it specifically used the game board as an example, as something that only needed a single instance. I don't completely understand what that means, but it basically said put the game board inside of a factory, so that's what I did. So this factory, I can add more things inside of this, and what the way I understand happens right now is the game state is a factory function, which is weird because it's a constant, but it's a constant containing functions, so it's like a factory of functions. Or this factory function anyway. So one function is dedicated to basically finding, it uses the input here, the square, to, well, game state dot update tile. So it's looking through the game state, finding that function, and then passing these variables specifically into that function. So the symbol will have x's and o's, and then the square, so this is the index in the array. Actually, I wonder if it put it here or here. Put it in the third or fourth position. Yeah, it put it in the fourth position, which it should because this is 0. Yeah. So I'll have to keep that in mind. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To keep things simple, it's not necessary, but I'm going to do this. Just to maybe not keep things simple, I don't know, but keep things consistent with the index. Okay. So that seems to be working. The game board, if I want to add an X or an O to the game board, I know how to do that in the most basic way. So I'm going to start with simple and then add update as I go. And what it calls a display controller. I don't completely... I'm assuming that means taking what's in the game board, taking the active state of the game board and displaying it inside here. So X and O and all that. And I believe I saw that in here. Oh, this calls it screen controller. So pull our game module into the screen controller. No longer need global access. So players will be interacting. Okay, so anyway, it sounds like display controller basically takes what's inside of the... I don't know if I would do it exactly this way. The way I'm thinking of it is I can use this simple function to store the active state of the game board, and then I can take the information from this array as it changes and feed it into to a function that places the X's and O's. I don't completely understand why the function that does this would need to be inside of the function, or inside of a function factory function that contains the other function that displays it on the game board. So, well, let's try it out. So I can use a function to take the contents of the array and update the text content within the divs on the game board. So I already called this update tile. Maybe there's a better name. So maybe update tile. It's really add symbol, because there won't be any rewriting. So this should be add symbol. This is adding a symbol to the array. And add symbol. And now we'll do update tile. I will do update tile. And I want to pass in I guess I just pass in the game board. Yeah, because this factory function should keep, as a whole, should keep the game board active state at all times, like as it gets updated. So if I pass that game board into here, what I can do is take each piece of the array and update the text content of the divs. And I can think of a very brute force way to do this, which I may just have to start with. Maybe I'm sure a more elegant function will come eventually. So the brute force option here is to basically have 9 things happening inside of this function. Well, I could do a loop. Yeah, maybe not brute force. Okay, so if I do a loop, if I loop through the array, I think I can pull in what I did with the library. What I did with the library was, actually, to back up, I can show the library. Well, letting GitHub it's making the page right now. But in the meantime, I'm going to just open the library. So in the library project, yeah, so it's very ugly, but CSS, I'm not really focusing on that right now. I want to get down HTML and really JavaScript, and then if needed, I can come back and tidy these things up. I just wanted to get it functional. So the library project was, I could add some book, and it would appear, and then I could remove books. I could change the read status of a book, and the way I did that was by adding a form, but basically I could manipulate the DOM. Every time a new book was added, I could manipulate the DOM. So this was this is what I need. Something similar here. But what I did was, for every book that was placed in the DOM, including the 2 that were that began, or that automatically appear when the page is loaded, they all have a data, I think it's a data element, or not data element, a data attribute. So Was it just classless? I can check. Okay, so every book card yeah, so I gave it a book array index. And so this was the index of the book in the array. So I had another book, then this one would have book array index of 1. Theoretically, that should change. I wonder if it does change. It does change to 0. So that's really cool. So I want to add something similar to each of the tiles. And how did I do that? Because I want the tile array index. I want this to basically loop through this array index and then look at that class, which I call tile array index. And based on the number, based on the position in this array, it can update specific tiles. So I'm going to need to that's the form and form information. So how did I do this book index? So anyway, I created a loop. So I'll start there. So don't know if it's best to, it's probably not best, but yeah, probably best to go through the motions. All right, so how did I write this? All right, so let's see if I can write a for loop for. I think it's let I, no, I'm already screwing it up. Yeah, let I equal 0, I is less than. Why is that colored correctly? I don't understand. Should I not have this inside the function? Does that make a difference? No. I would assume I would need to pass this. I may not need to. That doesn't solve my problem. Why is this not changing colors? Okay, I don't know why it makes me think that this isn't recognizing game board as an array, even though it's updating it as an array. So I'm just going to do a quick check. And the dot type. Okay, so this is where I could Google this, but I would rather ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been really helpful with quick answers like this. So check type of data in JavaScript. Oh, it's just type of. Okay. So I need type of. Let's see what that does. All right, I screwed it up. So I need this one to go live. Okay, it says it's an object. Ooh, can I do that inside of the console? Oh, I guess it. Yeah, that makes sense because it's not available outside of here. I wonder if I can just do game state dot game board. Nope. Oh well, it looks like it's recognizing it as an object. If I do, yeah, I could have just done that. Yeah, okay, so it does appear to be treated as an array here, but why is it not doing that here? Maybe that'll change. I'm probably getting ahead of myself. So what do I need to do? I need to check how I did it before. Yep. Okay, so book details. Where did I declare this? How did that work? It looks like I never actually declared this variable. Okay, well, I'm going to declare it here. I'll say let tile position Oh, right, because this, my library was an object in this case. Yeah, no, I said it as a empty array. Okay, well, yeah, okay, so this isn't tile position, this is tile symbol. I don't know which would be better, let or constant in this case. I just know that var is not the best idea here. So let tile position equal, I guess, in game board index of, that's how I did it, index of, yeah, this one. No. Yeah, I guess. So I'm hesitant there because I only have X's and O's, so I don't know exactly how index of works. Does it just go through and find the first thing that matches? Or is the index somehow stored inside of here? I guess I'll test it that way first. Keep it simple. So index of tile symbol. Which is silly. I don't even need that. The index is I. As I loop through, starting at 0, Yeah, I think the index should be I as it loops through. Should be the same. Okay, so I don't need to create elements, I just need to find elements based on their index. And so I need to do this similar thing with book array index. Now I can just do this manually. So instead of giving them IDs, I can do square array index. Okay, now that appears as a string here. Okay, it's a string there too. Perfect. If anyone ever watches this, they're probably going to be pulling their hair out because there's got to be a faster and more elegant way to do all of this. But this is just learning. Okay. So what I like about the learning project, the Odin project, is that the projects tend to build on one another, meaning that, I mean, this is the perfect example where this project, Tic-Tac-Toe, is so in such close proximity to project library. There's very little, well, not very little. They're new things, but it still draws on basically the foundation that has been being built the entire time. So what I can just do is, like I'm doing right now, is look at past projects, see how I solved a problem, and use that. I can implement many of those same things into the next project. So in this case, Tic-Tac-Toe. Sometimes it feels like cheating because I'm just looking at how I did this before, but so far I think, I mean, this can help save time, but also I imagine this is what it might be like in the real world, where I just look at examples or ask ChatGPT for an example, or yeah, it's just a time saver. It may not be ingraining everything as well, but I am learning how to find information. So I don't know if it's the best way, but this is how I like to do it right now. It's basically look at past examples and use those to help solve these problems. Not necessarily commit everything to memory. So what do I need to do? Well, where am I? Okay, so based on, what do I call this? Square array index. So I need to set, I need to get the div with that array index. Okay, and so in this case, I don't need to create an element. I need to set an element. Okay, so which means I need to do query selector. So I can do tile display. So let tile display equals document dot. Now, how to do this? Because I need to make this dynamic. I thought I did it with that money symbol. No. Oh. So the way I did it here was, it was specifically for removing books, because it needed to find the book position in the array in order to delete it. But I did that by getting the attribute of the active element, and so the active element was basically where the button was pressed in that case. Which actually I may have to do something similar to that eventually with tic-tac-toe, because it'll be based on where somebody presses or where somebody clicks. But I'm not going to do that just yet. It's not going to be efficient, but I'm going to keep following the advice of here. It says focus on getting a working game in the console first. I'll try to avoid thinking about the DOM in your HTML, CSS until the game is working, or user input. So that I'm thinking about doing this, but it says not to. And the way, just based on how I remember this going with project library, adding the click function became a headache. I had a lot of difficulty with that. So I'm tempted to do that first, but oh well, I'll do it this way. So I need to get the query selector. And how will I do this? Was this a string? Yeah, it was a string. So I think the way to do it is it'll be square array index. Okay, ChatGPT. I think I can show this. Well, I'm just asking ChatGPT. What I want to know is how to pass a variable into this query selector. So I want to have square array index dash. No, I don't need to do that. I need to okay. No, what I need to do is query selector all and then filter. So this will get all of the I need to find the specific tile where square array index equals I. Okay, so I need to, because I think this will give me an array of information. So actually I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what data type will query selector all give? Give a node list. Not a true JavaScript array, but it behaves similarly. Okay, so I need to filter the node list to find the specific tile where that equals I. Okay, so I'm asking, how do I search through divs to find one with a specific attribute value? Huh. Well, that's interesting. I may have seen this in a previous lesson, but I don't remember it. So, but this is really cool. So what I can do is I can look, I don't need to look through everything. I just need, it says I can do it for finding the first value or finding all the values. And because each of the divs that I'm using is unique, I just need to look for the first one. So I find the div where I didn't even need a hashtag. what was I thinking? These aren't IDs, these are specific attributes. So and it's not a string. But I do need to how does that work? I need to pass the I variable into there. So how do I pass an I value into query selector? ChatGPT says okay, so it looks like that looks like the correct syntax. Okay, so I need to comment this. So give a blank game board, update the game squares. All right. Okay, so now I can come back to this code. If this works, I can come back to it and understand how it did it. Maybe copy some of this code into a future project. So now what? Okay, so now I need to update the text content. Update text content of tile. So I think to do this, I do tile display dot text content. Can't remember if I put this in parentheses or set it equal to. And set it equal to. Okay. Let's see if this just updates the game board. So if I do let's see what this does. Already been declared at line 34. Okay, well, I don't know where that problem is coming from. Is it thinking that this is the issue? It's declared here. I don't understand is that Oh, maybe it's because I haven't used tile position. I don't think I need this. Didn't make a difference. Is this the problem? Maybe I have to convert this to a number. Okay, I'm not really sure what the problem is. I don't know if it's coming down to this problem again, because this, I think, is written the exact same way as it is here, but... Oh, wow. It's syntax. That's silly. Okay, well, let's see. If I don't need this, I don't think I need this. I should be able to use I there. What does that do? Game state is not a function. Okay, how about that? Game.add symbol is not a function. Okay, I think I'm recording again. All right, so what's the problem? It's about where this I. No, it's saying that this is not a function. Okay, so in the lesson, okay, so that works. How does that do? Okay, do I have to run these back to back? Hmm. Okay, I don't understand why this update tile function is not working. It's not throwing any errors, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Maybe I need to pass game board through there? Does that do anything? No. Can I think I've tried this already, but can I just look at the game board? No. Can't do that either. Can I, if I pass the same thing through, but change a different position, will it retain the previous one? Yes. Okay, so that's being kept. It's being stored. So that's good. Okay, so that seems to be working okay. Okay, yeah, the text content's not being changed at all. Okay, I'll ask ChatGPT how to run functions from factory function back to back. So I want to make changes to the game board, and then I want to make the tiles reflect those changes. Huh. So ChatGPT makes it look like I'll just do that. So I have it set up as a factory function based on this. But it's set as a constant. That's what I don't fully grasp is why would you set that as a constant? Yeah, see, this makes it look like I could have function and then function within function. And that's the way, when I asked ChatGPT how to run functions from factory function back to back, it starts with a function, and within that are multiple functions, which are actually all within the return. Whereas in here, it suggests that I could have one parent function within that multiple functions, and then return at the bottom would have the names of each function. So I'm going to try setting it up that way. Just comment all this out. And just copy everything. Or most of everything down here. And what I'll do is have a function game state Don't know if I have to add these, but what does that do? It does not like a comma. Why does it not like the comma? Okay, so I have to create, this suggests maybe I have to create what if I do GameState.add symbol. Okay, well, let's see if this still works. Okay, that still works. What's going on? Okay, at least it's doing something. I get rid of that. Okay, it's working. Fantastic. All right, sweet. Now, I can't explain why it wasn't working before. That's not good, but it's working. So I wonder if I can do these back to back. get rid of all this console logging and clean it up. No, I can't. Why can't I do that? Okay, well that's fine. What if I do, can I add in multiple commands? Yes, excellent. Okay. I can add in multiple commands. And what I imagine will happen is I can have the user input trigger these. Based on the tile, the user input. Well, first, the tile, if it has something in there, I'll have to check. If it has something already, then nothing happens. If it doesn't have anything, then it can pass. It can trigger this command, and then it can trigger this command. Okay, progress. I guess I could have the state of the game kept inside the same factory function. So it could be inside of update game, it could be keeping track of the game board, it can add symbols, it can update tiles, and it can why not check for a winner? So it needs to check, it needs to loop through the array and check if certain positions are all the same. So it needs to check if 0, 3, and 7, 6, no, 0, 3, and 6 are the same. But they they can't be. So if they're not blank and they are the same. I don't do multiple if statements. This was maybe an early lesson in the Odin project. I think, so, if Alright, let's brute force this one. If the first position in the game board is not equal to blank and it's equal to the third one, or be 1, 1, 4, 1, 7, 2, 5, 2, 8. So that checks vertically. Now horizontally. Zero, zero, 1, 0, 2. Okay, so this check if tiles are not blank and tiles match vertically. This would be horizontal. So 3, 3, 4, 3, 5. Uh, 6, 6, 7, 6, 8. All right, diagonally. This will be 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, no, that'd be 4. And 8. This will be 2. 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this would be 6. Okay, so if those are true, then let's throw in the console. No. I think I need to alert. I'm gonna find the winner. The winner oh man. Well, it'll be the last. It'll be the last symbol thrown in, so I could probably simplify the logic, but I need to pass the symbol through. Which means, I wonder if I could just check the square. It should announce the winner as soon as the winner places the winning tile, so I think this will work. I wonder if there's a way to simplify all this based on which square passes through. Maybe, I mean, it could just be if game board 0 equals or game board 0 equals game. Nah, I don't know. There might be a way to do it, but it's not coming to me right now. Okay, so what about tie game? If and basically if every tile is filled in and a winner was not selected, then and I could look through the array and see if there are no empties left, or yeah. So basically, if the array does not contain empty, then the game is over. Okay. So I throw in ChatGPT, if array does not contain, then cool. So basically, does not. Game board. Includes empty. Alert. Tie game. Okay, and so what I need to do is, after these need to come in threes. So game state dot winner check. What's I do? Okay, line 103. I don't see the problem. Do know this has to go into there. Oh, there we go. Okay. So how about go ahead and add in, that's 3, let's do 4 and 5. Sweet. Except it's undefined. Why is it undefined? Oh. Right. Well, that's pretty cool. All right. So that seems to be working. Okay, well, I can check the logic. I think the logic works. I can actually, I wonder why it didn't alert tie gain. Or did it? No, it did not. Oh, duh. It still has blanks in it. Okay, what do I need to do next? Yeah, I think the only thing left is to add in interactions. I wonder if everything can go inside this one factory function. I don't know. I don't think I need this stuff anymore. Okay. Where was I? Let's see. Yeah, so I think everything's working in the game. I guess the last piece is just to throw in some click functionality. I don't know if they want that inside of another factory function. All right. Let's see. As little global code as possible. Tucking as much as you can inside factories. Okay, I don't think it's necessary to throw the event listeners into factories. I need to have two separate players, and so what I can do is I can start the game with a prompt asking for a player name, I'll say who is player X and then who is player O, and throw their names in there, and that can go into that can go into a function to create the user. Now I guess every second click it's going to have to alternate players based on the event listener. So I guess what I can do is store the event. I can store every click inside of an array. Yeah. So I think what I need to do is look at how did I do this? Well, first, how did I handle event listeners in here? It was so I did it by looking for all of the, well, I looked for the open dialog class. So what I can do is create a constant that's equal to the divs within the container. So I can select all of the game squares. So at the top, I can start by and then I can add an event listener. That runs a function afterwards. need to add the users as well. I think I can look at my Etch-a-Sketch actually, and so the Etch-a-Sketch began by entering grid size. So it's initially this prompt shows up. Creates a grid. Okay, so what I did with this was just a button to start. How can I just add a prompt to start? Are there any projects where I did that? What? Does this work? Okay, so it is random. Anyway. Okay, I don't remember if man, it seems like there was one that just starts with a prompt. No, not that one. Okay, I'm not seeing it. So anyway, what will I do? I guess I can add a button to start the game, and that can open up a form, and then I can store the names for each symbol in a form. Add a button, open a form, add names for each person. Player 1 X, player 2 O. I can store that. I'm going to store that in the background. I don't need to display it. So what I can do is mimic what I did here, which is add a dialogue. Book display. So I'll just copy this, and it can be start game. All right, add new book. Yeah. So this will be start game. I don't think I ever did anything with these classes, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Actually, I just need label layer 1. Don't think all this is necessary, but oh well. Basically, player 2. Hmm. Yeah, that's how it did it. Okay. So actually I have to add a button above this. Call this player details. And the buttons, what? restart. Oops. Start game. This can be add player details. That should look better. Yep. So now I need to add the dialogue. So basically do the same thing I did here. So for user to start game. And what was that? Open dialogue, yeah. Open dialogue. So const open dialogue. Okay, so got the dialog box. Now we need to store. I'll stop saying we. I have to store the player details. How did I do that? Yep, so there we go. Listen for user to finish start form. So add players. Right now, I don't need buttons, button class. Try to keep this more, try to keep it more tidy. So now I need function add player info. Yeah, so now I guess this can be a factory. No, this can not a constructor. I can mimic this. I think I need a longer break, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this one and hopefully continue working on this later today. So anyway, okay, best practice is probably to update this in GitHub. So I'm going to do that. So commit message, I'll say, so the big changes since last time were actually getting yeah, I wasn't sure. So this is like half finished. So I didn't know if it's better to comment it out or maybe I can say this is current area of work. So the commit message, let's see. So maybe like add working game logic. Yeah, maybe that. Commit messages, I mean, I could say add working game logic, comma, add working game and logic. I mean, technically this is a working game. Add working game with logic. It just doesn't have add working game with logic, begin, initial player info, begin adding player info, add working game and logic, begin adding player info collection. It's not perfect, but cool. So there it is. All right. So anyway, it's a fun test run of just logging my progress, and I'll add another video when I continue working on this, probably later today.